Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today you join me down Barron's Pond on the NMG complex in peg 4.5. I've had a lot of success out of this peg before, fishing down to the right hand margin in the bay, one on the far bank behind my back, nice and tight over there. Going to go in with my usual approaches with a slight difference, which we'll talk about in a bit. I've had an absolute nightmare today. I left my pegs at home, my scissors at home, I had no quick change swivels. I drive half an hour back home, half an hour back, so an hour round trip. When I come down the lane to get into the lake, a lorry had broken down, so I had to reverse up a single country lane all the way up, which was an absolute nightmare. Go the long way around to the lake. But we're here now. I'm nearly ready to get the rods out and hopefully we can bag a couple of these cracking carp. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to walk around with some bait. We're going to pre-bait the spots, clip our rigs on and then get them over the top of our bait. So let's go and do that. So we're down on the spot by the peg. I'm trying to be a little bit more quiet. I'll add the volume up when I'm editing this. So what I'm going in with is a mix of all different boilies. Different sizes, pellets. 60% of that mix is sweet corn. Absolute game changer of a bait. And if there ain't no bream in the complex and you can try and avoid them smaller ones, put it in your mix and get it out there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce a couple of handfuls along this margin that I'm going to be fishing, as well as on the other spot, and then cast the rigs over to it. So let's get some of this bait in and hopefully it won't take too long before they get onto it. That'll do that for that spot. Let's walk around to the next one, get some bait on there. As you can see, that's the peg over there. It's basically a direct straight cast over towards the margin. I'm fishing about 2 foot off of it, so hopefully we can bag a couple of carp. And there we are. That'll do it for the baiting. The other good thing with sweet corn is it's tiny little grains. Carp love it. It's the best carp bait out there by a mile, and it keeps them grubbing around and just looking for them little parcels of bait. If you've got a nice scattering, keeps them moving, keeps them happy, feeding on that spot. Something visual as well. So as I'll show you in a second, I'm going to fish a yellow pop-up over that to blend in. So let's get into the rig approach, get them rods out there, and we'll see what the next 2 days bring us. So here we are, here's my approach. It's a very basic setup in my opinion. It's just a spinner rig with a size 4 barbless crank into 7.5 inches of boom, the 12mm pineapple yellow pop-up to blend in with them grains of corn. They're going to be grubbing around, going for those little yellow bits of, well, you can call it particle, and hopefully that tricks them up as they're picking them off. And that's running into a 3-ounce lead on a lead clip, nice and loose, so that lead stays on the bottom. It runs away, the fish ain't got no way to discharge that hook out of its mouth at all. And then a section of rig tubing, and that's purely down to because it pins your line out the way, it keeps it out the way, it blends in with the bottom, and it also gives your fish safety. So with a line, if it's rubbing against the scales, it can't really be that great. It can knock their scales off. With this, it's a bit smoother, it's a bit more gentle on them, so it's also for the safety, as I said before, but also keeping that line out of the water. So that's the approach. Let's get these rods out there and see what the next 2 days bring us. It is actually starting to snow now. I don't know if you can see it, but it is freezing cold. Just before that setup goes out there, I'm just going to test it in the water just to make sure it's not too buoyant. You don't want your whole rig being off the floor. You want it to sit nicely, just like that, just off of the deck. If it is too buoyant, you can just add a bit of putty or anything with weight that'll weigh it down at the height that you want to use. So I'm going to put that in there, and I can see that it sinks lovely and the hook sits up how I want it to sit. So that's a perfect balance for fishing the pop-up on the spinner rig, in my opinion. So we're going to cast it over to the far bank, and hopefully it won't take too long before we see our first carp. Spot on there. I've slowed it down a little bit just before it's going to hit the water, because I did hit it a little bit too hard, but by slowing that down I've got it basically bang on, hit the clip lovely, it's dropped in there nicely. It's only a couple of foot deep there, so I know the spot. There's no real need to find that drop. The whole area is rocks on it. And I have clipped up this other rod, but it's simply a nice little underhand cast, really easy to access. You can get a proper drop on this lead. It's slightly gravelly down there now, which it never used to be, so some of the coating's coming off the lead, which is a good sign that the fish have probably been polishing it off with bait. There's a liner straight away on the other rod. Hopefully we can get a really early bite. Let's get this one out there. And there we are, rods are out, bang on. I'm very hopeful for those. So we've got a cup of tea on the go to stay warm in this weather. Top tip for winter fishing is wrapping up warm: hats, woolly socks, warm clothing, hot drinks. Stay as warm as possible to enjoy your session as much as possible. So in this video, I've been a bit more in depth in what I'm doing, running people through it. And that's because a few people have asked for me to do that. So for those that are new coming into my channel and new into fishing, you can see exactly what I'm up to and what is working for me, if it does work this session. So that is it really for now. So I'm going to sit back, I'm going to go onto a YouTube live, and hopefully we can catch a run on camera and get our first fish in that net as soon as possible. So, exciting delivery for me. I come down to the lake earlier than expected, and I did really want this parcel. So my old man has dropped it off, thanks to him. And as you know, I've teamed up with Ace Baits, and in this box is a load of testers. They're not the final products on the ones I've got, the colour wise, on the hook baits and goose, but Ace Baits website is now live and pre-orders are out, and you can get 15% off. I'm going to leave a link down below in the video. Head over there and have a little look through what Steve's got to offer. It's one of the top quality baits on the market, and I'm going to show you just this session how good it is. And as I said, I know Steve's going to be watching this, so let's do the company proud. Let's get a couple of fish on the bank on Ace Baits and prove to you guys what quality Steve can bring. So in the box I've got some fruity crab glugged hook baits. They're like a red colour and they smell unreal. Do you know what, they smell more fruity than crabby, and I think that'd still be a great winter bait. Them ones, I know they're live on the website, so if you want to head over and bag yourself some of them, 15% off on pre-orders. After pre-orders, code BaileySmith10 for 10% off. These ones are fruity crab pop-ups. See, they're going to smell basically the same, and they come with, if you order your pop-ups, they come with a little booster, lovely red colour. I love fishing red hook baits. I've had most of my fish out on reds. We've got some natural nut in the glugged hook baits. Let's undo that. Oh, they smell a bit like sow, but the better version. They've got nuts and everything going on. They're all glugged up as well. They're also, oh, I've just tipped the glug out. They're also on the website, so go check those out. We've got the animal. This is the one that I've wanted to smell the most. These are the animal glugged hook baits in 14mm, these ones. Cool. They absolutely reek. It's like a bit like a fishy smell, but it's a smell that I can't get my head around. It's like fishy with something. Their animal is on the website, but I believe they're in orange, so I've got the darker ones there. I've got pop-ups, 15mm in the natural nut as well. They're all glugged up. They come with a nice little label over the top, so they don't leak out in delivery. A lot of baits do that when they're glugged up, leak out. So big up to Steve for coming up with that. That's a great idea. So we've got some more booster liquids in there. I know they're out on the website as well. Again, unreal. And then the last ones, we have got the animal pop-ups in 15mm, again with the glugs, and we know what they smell like. And also in the box I've got some goos and boosters, which I'm obviously going to boost the baits up in them. I might put a bit in my mix this session as well. So we've got the animal slick liquid. There you go, bright red, lovely colour. The natural nut in like a white, again, great little products. You can boost your baits up in them. It'll seep into your bait over time if you let them leak in there, and when they go into the water column they're just going to disperse out and get them carp grabbing around looking for whatever that smell is, and the fruity crab one as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give them a little boost up for half an hour, and then I'm going to get them out there onto the rigs. I'm going to rest them spots for a little while now I've reeled him in, get them out over that bait, and we'll see exactly what Ace Baits is all about. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put one of each flavour on. So I'm going to put the natural nut to the far bank. As you can see, they're all glugged up. You know what happens with the glug. Goes in the water column, it disperses, and them carp get grabbing around, and they smell unbelievable. And the other one, I'm just going to do it on the animal. They're the glugged hook baits. They're hardened hook baits, as I can feel. They're quite firm, which I'm going to be putting on a bait screw. So that is good for using bait screws and having your bait on for a long period of time, as once these are out they're going to be staying out until they go. So let's get these on. I'll show you them on the rigs, get the rods back out, and hopefully we can bag a couple. And the animal is a very dark hook bait. It smells unbelievable. I haven't smelt something like it before and I can't get my finger on it. I am going to have to ask Steve what flavours go into it. We're going to put that one on the other one. I know that's probably going to do its bits in the summer, but I also feel like it could be a very good winter bait. So let's get that out there. And here we are. That's the natural nut on that rod. That'll be going out to the far margin. And we've got the animal on the other rod, a lovely dark bait. So a quick update before it gets dark. It's just getting dark now. Nothing yet. Sort of as expected in a way. But hopefully the night brings us a few, and I'm sure tomorrow daytime we'll be able to bag a couple of crackers. So let's see what the night brings. I'll see you in the morning if nothing happens, but hopefully see you soon holding one of those very chunky scaly bangers during the night. It's just gone midnight. We got our first fish of the session, probably only 6 or 7 pound this common, but it's a start, and now we know where we are with everything. Hopefully we can push forward and bag a couple more natural nuts on Ace Baits. There we are. Let's slip her back, and hopefully a couple of the bigger residents show their face soon. Well, good morning. Just the one last night, and I'm not happy with that performance at all, to be honest with you. Not spending no more time in this peg. They're clearly not down here, so I'm moving a couple of pegs up to peg 3. I'll walk you down there now. You see all the fishing gear down there, but you can still command that back bank, but further down, which I've heard a couple of roll down there, so they're definitely holding up. And then you've got an overhanging willow, which our fish has just passed into open water, so you've sort of got a couple more options down here. So here we are. I'm around to peg 3 all set up. I'm just going to go in with the same approach. I've changed one of the hook baits, but we're going to go in with the nuts on the far bank, as that done us our fish last night. And then I've changed the other one over to fruity crab instead, and that one's going to go just beyond the willow into the open water. I'm just going to walk back around to the back bank, so because it's really easy to access baiting down there. So we're going to access it via the causeway, get a little bait in there, and hopefully today we can change it up a bit and land a couple more fish. As I do really need to land a few more for the video, because otherwise so far it's probably a bit of a boring video. You're just watching me go on, and I'm going on now. So let's go get to the fishing. What's on that? And with this peg, with the stages, the fish do like to try and get around the poles. So you need to fish fairly locked up. Sink that line. So I'm just settling into this peg. I've had the rods out there for about 10-15 minutes. Left-hander, one swirled over the top of it, so there's 100% something down there. It's had a couple of liners as well, so hopefully that one tears off soon. See, today it's going to warm up by a couple of degrees, not much. Max temperatures are 5, but hopefully it gets them moving about a little bit more and we can get amongst some of them. Getting one of the big gales would be nice, but I'm just currently making my 16th cup of tea in, I ain't even been here 24 hours. I've not even been here 20 hours. So yeah, just that's all I'm doing. I'm bored to death at the minute. I don't really want to be changing things up. I know everything's spot on, so hopefully it won't take too long in this peg where I've seen a couple of carp for one of them rods to tear off soon. Second fish of the session, cracking scaly mirror. Have a look at that. It's a bit bigger as well, but it's still not quite the size we're after. I'm hoping to land one or two more, but it's not looking that likely at the moment. But it's 4 AM into the second night now, and it's 0 degrees. It's freezing cold, but this one was taken on the ace baits, natural nut, and the glugged hook baits again. Gonna slip her back. Hopefully at least one more shows its face. Good morning, the sun's just come up. I've been up since first light having a look for some possibilities of landing some quick bites this morning. So I've sort of gauged where they're going to be. I've brought the rods in, sharpened the hooks as they have worn away a little bit over the time of casting on this session. So I've done that, fresh hook baits, and then straight back out there, and hopefully we can have a productive morning as we've still got half a day today. So I'll see you guys in a bit, hopefully holding one of these chunky carp. Well, there we are. That's the third carp of the session. Have a look at that for a dark scaly one. Looks absolutely massive as well. It's probably just under the 20-pound mark, but again on the natural nuts from Ace Baits. Let's have a look at the other side and then slip her back, and hopefully there's one more just before we go. There we go, the other side. Have a look at that. What a stunning carp. This session's really starting to turn around now. Let's get her back in the water. We don't want to leave her out too long. There we are, fourth fish of the session. Then rods are into action now, and they're quite literally going nuts for that bait. Another dark scaly one, and then rods are already back out on the spot, and we got another hour or so left yet, so there could be a few more on the cards. So let's get her back in the water. Don't want to leave her out too long, just like the last one. Minimise the time they're on the bank.
So me being me, I forgot to do the outro to the video. After this I did pack down and go home. We didn't manage any more, but that's a result for a winter session, freezing cold temperatures, and we had to move around a little bit to make it happen. A very slow start, but a strong finish with some very nice dark scaly mirrors. So I'll see you all guys in the next video next weekend.